ja samo jedan od 3 apsolutno ravnopravna autora ovog filma, pa ćete imati prilike kasnije da nam svima zajedno, ako budete osetili to do kraja, da ste užali. Ovako, znači na pozivnici piše da treba da se dođe na promociju filma Oda Miroslavu Mandiću broj 2, odnosno Indigo ili ja lažem, i da ima još 5 iznenađenja. Samo da vam kažem, pa ako pogledate ko izdrži ne drži, da imamo još 5 filmova. Zato što sam ja pre 2 godine u dogovoru s Miroslavom, kao ja hoću nešto radim vezano za njega, divim mu se, neopisivo, on kaže dobro, napravi nekoliko filmova, ne jedan uvek može da napravi bilo ko. Ja sam rekla, ok, pošto sam imala potpuno neiskustvo, napravit ću ja 7 filmova. On kaže, 7 filmova za koliko godina, to misliš, do tada sam napravila samo jedan. Ja sam rekla za 2 godine. I onda sam napravila ovo jedan, koja se zvala Ritam 42, takođe sa Đorđević u autorstvu, koja je takođe ovde pre 2 godine bila promovisana i tada smo najavili ovu 2. I tada je prošlo 2 godine. Za sada je trebalo se završi 7 filmova i mi smo Miroslavu pokazali ovu 2, jer je sjajni film, fenomenalno, to se izgleda, sjajni ste vi devojke, a gde su ostalih 5? I kao pa, znači, jako je komplikovano raditi filmove, mi smo bili neiskusni, ne znamo da to tako može. On kaže, ne, aj sad, za 2 nedelje napravite još tih 5 da bude istina važna. Jer ovaj se film zove Ja lažem, Indigo. I na kraju ja kažem, odnosno svi mi kažemo, ja u stvari neću da lažem. A ne napraviš 7 onda, ispalo bi se velika laž, tako da smo mi uspeli da napraviti tih 5, pa uživajte. Opšte stvari o Miroslavu, pošto to treba uvek reći jer ne znamo koliko ko zna i ne možemo uvek sve reći jer je njegov rad ekstremno obiman. Miroslav je rođen 4. decembra 1949. godine, 1949. godine, jako rano izgubio oca i od tada kreće njegov put koji on naziva opasan put. Njegov prvi logo je bio magarac i njegova energija je ostala u tom maniru, znači snažno do kraja. I naravno i Miroslav je imao mamu. I njegova mama je strašno bila protiv toga što on radi, naročito u vreme grupe koji, mislim, dok nije doživjela transformaciju o kojoj je zapravo bio Indigo. Znači, priča o leptiru koji se rađa iz čaure i za koji bi ja volala da svi mi noćas pokušamo da razumemo taj simbol transformacije. Odnosno, stalno promene i stalnog toka, od nečega ka nečemu, možda i ka nepoznatu. I njegova majka, koja se inače zvala Kaja, je umrla u prvoj godini projekta 10-godišnje knjige posvećena Oda, ruži i lutanja, znači 10 godina je Miroslav hodao 22 km dnevno i njegova majka je umrla u prvoj godini. Međutim, pre nego što je umrla, pre nego što je govorila, sine, pazi se vetra, sine, dokle ćeš ti tako, trebalo je da budeš inženjer, trebalo je da budeš ovako, onako. Ona je međuvremeno postala prijatelj svih njih i veliki pokrovitelj i velika duša svih njihovih tajni i njihovih umetnosti i doživjela jednu javnu transformaciju. O tome je Miroslav objavio tekst u Ruži broj 3. Kaže Kaja u svom poslednjem pismu. Poslednje pismo. Miroslav se na put kreće i ja mu želim mnogo sreće. Nije kriv što je živ i što voli nebo, sunce, vodu, ptice i sve živo koje puta, jer se njima neće da zaleti. Neka ide i nek leti kao lasta ptica mala. Ona će mu verna biti, cijelim putem će ga veseliti. A na ruci je ruža plava, 10 puta će ti cvati i ti ćeš se radovati. 9. novembra 1991. subota, tad je počela ruža, sunce sija, tačno u 11 sati, sretna sam bila, suzu nisam pustila. Ja i Ljubica smo kafu pili za tvoj rad i daleki put nazdravila. Ti si sad u Londonu, daleko od mene, a danas mi srce kuca samo za tebe. Volim te i puno i uvek tvoja mama. Kada vidiš usput cveće ti da ti vene pisao da sretni mene. Ruža je ruža, a ti si na putu, samo kao žena bez muža. Zato i tamo daleko, kad kiša pada, raduj se, sine moj. Kad sunce sija, veseli se. Kad vetar počne da duva u leđa, bit će ti tamo vaša. I tako se Kaja transformisala. I tako je Kaja priznala pred kraj. I kao što je ona tražila od svog sina, koji u vremenu postoji jako dobar švedski umetnik, a ono koji ne zna, vratno gleda na neku. A on je tražila od njega da bude inženjer, a on tvrdi da bi on bio mrtav kad bi bio inženjer. Iako ima toliko ljudi na ovom svetu koji mogu da budu sami inženjeri, ali svet ne bi postoje bez inženjera, mislim da je trebalo da bude ovo što jeste. Tako da mama, umesto Umesto pazi, kaže mi izdrži. Umesto nemoj, kaže samo napred. Umesto nemaš pojma, kaže bravo. Oprosti mi mama i pusti da poraste. I onda sačekaj malo. Sačekaj malo kad ja porastem i nemoj odmah da postaneš dete. Zato što bi ja volela da se neko vreme nađemo na istoj liniji i da se stvarno volimo, a onda postani dete, ja ću postati mama i onda sve će moći da ide ponovo u krug. Jer u ovoj sali vezam da ne postoji niko, pa da kiša Anina djevojčica za 100 godina neće biti živa. Tako da, za život i smrt. U 10. ruži, pred sam kraj, 17. oktobra, izašao je tekst koji se zove Ratka Marić. Ratka Marić je miris svih karmina i šuškanje njenog najlepšeg kožnog mantila i lepet krila golubova koje smo svakodnevno hranili s kvašenim hlebom i juče. Sprdalo koje je moja drugarica za ručkom, koja je smerno pitala da li sme da uzme sa malo mesa iz gulaša, odgovorila, no naravno, maco, uzmi ima mesa ko govneta. Njena kuća, konstantni bijenal neke čudne umetnosti u kojoj plakat reprodukcija od Greka stoji iznad šporeta, a rečnik sociologije u polici sa začinima. Retrovizor od bicikla u saksiji sa puzavicom, dok onome ko takve zbirku plave flašica ne bi bilo u koži. Sa koje god strane se priđe lako je otkriti da je ravna omiljeno biće, majka i saputnik, kuvarica i naučnik, zajebant i mudrac, prijatelj i svađolovac, logika i apsurd, ljubav i ljubav. U znaku blizanac od oca vojnog lica. Puno se selila, puno mislila, puno je bolela, ona je čutala. Nisam sigurna koliko je muškaraca volela i kako. Ne bi se usudila da tumači njen odnos prema Bogu, strah pred smrti kao ni otuđenje prema novcu i nekretninama. Mada, od kad su umrli roditelji moj baka i deka i ovdje je Drago Marić kao da mrne neke molitve. Eto Miroslave, posle tekstova o tvojoj majici, ocu i mom ocu koji sam ti napisala u ruži 8 i ruži 9, evo napisao ti tekst o Ratki. Hvala, MAMAMA.
U filmu INDIGO se mnogo toga dešava. Mnogi ljudi su rekli da ga ne razumiju šta se tu dešava, da ne razumiju njegove poruke. Pravljanje tog filma je trajalo 2 godine i bitno je da se razumemo i zbog toga. Mi smo napravili još 5 filmova za, recimo, 2 dana, koji su mnogo jednostavniji, svedeni i u kojima se ništa ne dešava. Zato nemojte da pokušavate da razumete. Za vreme ovih filmova možete slobodno da izađete napolje, da spavate, da pričate, da se smijete ili jednostavno samo da posmatrate. Uživajte.
Ja sam Jelena Bešir, a on je
Ovo je bila jedna prava hronologija, nama jako važna, a ovo je 8. film. U stvari ovo je priča koja se zove +1 i ona bi trebalo da bude kraj. Kao što je Miroslav hodao 10 godina i jedan dan, kao što je napisao 10 knjiga za tih 10 godina i ipak napisao još jednu iz tih 10. Lepo je vidjeti vas na ekranu, gledati vaše strpljenje koje je do sada gledalo nas. Razmene, saglasnost, slušanje, spajanje. Nadamo se da vam se dogodilo nešto i od toga, jer to je ono što se nama događalo kad smo radili ove filmove. Nadamo se također da će vam se u svakom danu rađati nove mogućnosti i da ćemo ponekad shvatiti da je sramota biti bezvoljno na ovom svetu, jer bez volje ne možemo osjetiti čudo zvano život. Hvala vam za ovu noć koja se sigurno dogodila neko malo čudo, a to je dovoljno za dobrotu u sledećem trenu. Ovo je za tebe i naravno MAMAMA.
It all started as a great love and passion for dedicated work in theater. Long rehearsals, silence, interesting books. Afternoons spent watching video of great masters of the 20th century theater. Endless questions and self-rediscovering through this kind of work. It all seemed as an isolation and loneliness. But that dedicated process actually took me to another reality. And for the first time in my life, I was turned to myself with my art. And I became stronger. The precision of physical training, in which the only thing that mattered in the beginning was not to fall down, doing the hard physical exercises, and to avoid physical endurance, made me stronger on so many different levels. To be precise physically leads to the precision of thought, to the clearness of decision, not only in theater, but also in life. The technique that we conquer allows us to materialize our imagination through improvisation that we do. And we worked a lot, all day long. Many elements of my life came in our performances and became theatrical. Likewise, many elements from theater became part of my life. Water. this performance anticipated the following events. The strengthening of our own identity opened a lot of questions. The coffee breaks became rehearsals for another performance, and the discussions about what was happening to us on that March 1991, when first Belgrade streets were flooded by tanks and we could smell the war everywhere around us, turned into the performance in which we were healing our souls. Bertolt Brecht walked into hermetic Momčilo na Sasijević and we spoke. What kind of times they are when the talk about trees is almost a crime, because it implies silence about so many horrors. Definitely there, calmly crossing the street, is already perhaps beyond the reach of his friends who are in need. I was a witness to madness stop for a moment while the performance was going on. I was a witness to quickening of voices and light-hearted conversations. I was there, crossing up with the people who found their own words, their meditation in that act of theater. In that time, theater started to be indispensable and ultimately needed. It becomes water for the thirsty one and bread for the hungry one. By asking questions and personally speaking, it gives us possibility of our own healing. What I wrote on a large white paper hanging on the wall of Belgrade Sculpture Center were these very words. I wrote in my name, but also in the name of many others. The war separated me, the writer of the plays, from my friend, stage designer. The cities where we worked are no longer there. When I walk through cities that still are, at times I say, that blue piece of washing my friend would have it place it better. Bertolt Brecht. That was Bertolt Brecht in our performance. And about our performance, Đorđević, the player critic in the magazine Pacific from August 1992, wrote these words. In a precisely controlled, focused and charged ritual game of these four actors, Brecht has spoken as if he were alive, the most contemporaneous contemporary of our own against slaughter and against totalitarianism. Confused audience, people who were just passing by, and eternal window shoppers without a pen in their pockets instantly accepted this form of non-commercial entertainment, these hard subjects in hard times. The philosophy, which is not dear to them, does not even look familiar, but matters a great deal. Possible illegibility of the sign was diffused by extremely powerful and precisely channeled emotions, accessible to everybody. All those spectators who in the evening went to bed forced to skip their dinner had at least a full heart. To those who, after all that had happened, stopped believing in theater, Dah Teatra brought back hope. And something else. This primarily theatrical act, equally interesting and invaluable from both its sociological and artistic standpoint, directly asked the question Anton Artaud had asked before. Question which stays to shimmer in the air long after the performance is over, and which is the bottom line of my three-part non-theatrical commentary. Vertical comments. And the question we must now ask is whether in this slippery world which is committing suicide without noticing it, there can be found a nucleus of human capable of imposing this superior notion of the theater, humans who will restore to all of us the natural and magic equivalent of the dogmas in which we no longer believe. It is important to talk about little things in theater which make our lives great. The first look out of the window in the morning, the old book found again, enthusiastic face, snow, the change of the season, the newspaper, the dog, dialectics, taking shower, swimming, old music, comfortable shoes, new music, taking things in, planting, writing, singing, traveling, being friendly. last line is everything changed. But you can always start with a new breath again and again. And we did it. We started again with a new breath. We believe then, and we believe now, that it is our personal and artistic responsibility to have relation with the time in which we live. It is not like we wanted to make political performances. We just spoke about things we were missing, and in that way our performances had political character. So from anti-war attitude in this Babylonian confusion, we moved to more direct approach in Zenith, 1994, where by speaking about Zenithism, avant-garde movement from the beginning of 20th century in my country, we actually spoke about ourselves, the artists in the dark times. bartender and harbor, where ships silence and sun by water could wake me up in the morning. I wish my child was being born. I'll tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last moment, for the tropical sun and the dead will raise imperishable, and we shall be changed. For this perishable nature must look on the imperishable, and this mortal nature must look on immortality. When the perishable puts on the imperishable, and the mortal puts on immortality, there shall come to pass the same. That is written. Angels, memories. Whoever cries somewhere in the world, who cries without reason in the world, cries because of me. Whoever loves somewhere in the world, who without reason loves in the world, is laughing at me. Whoever walks somewhere in the world, who without reason roams in the world, is coming to me. Whoever dies somewhere in the world, who without reason dies in the world, is looking at me. And then another and another and another performance. And for us, very important performance in 1998. The Helen Keller case. In that performance, I worked on character of and salary. We believe that working in that performance, we could find the way out of isolation, like Helen Keller did with the help of Anne Salary. I believe in immortality of the soul because I have within me immortal longings. I believe that the state we enter after death is brought out of our own thoughts, motives, and deeds. I believe when the eyes within my physical eyes open upon the world to come, I will be consciously living in the country of my heart. Without this faith, my life would have little meaning. My faith never wavers, and each dear friend I have lost is a link between this world and the next. My fate is, for the moment, bowed down with the grief when I cease to feel the touch of their hands or feel tender words from them. But the light of faith never fades from my sky, and I take heart again, glad that they are free. Immured by silence and darkness, I possess the light which will give me a vision 1,000-fold when death sets me free. And as another text from the same performance says, and for me has direct relation with the theater I make, does not love, true love, suffer all things, endure all things, hope all things. Love suffers long and is patient. It gives without stint, without measure, and asks for nothing in return. It expects only good from the dear one, through all trials and disillusions. I know now that you have not killed my love, and you never can. Only when we are able to face our past, we are able to go home and find our future. In our performance from 2001, Master Forbidden Remembrance, I'm telling the real story of my family. My great-great-great-great-grandfather from my mother's father's side, and all the way back to the female line, was born in the village of Ruži in Serbia. That is the place where my ancestor loved to play his favorite game. Throw the pebbles and listen to the sound they made rolling down the rocks. He was an older boy when the Turks took him away to Turkey Dah Teatra is a place where I have no limits. My shelter is there, as well as my salvation. Because by accepting responsibility of what and how we do, we return our thoughts, memories, and deeds to their real origin, and in that way, transforming ourselves into the better human beings too. That's why the circle is regular and close, and the exchange is established. As an artist, I chose to have relation with the time in which I live, but the cruel historical circumstances of my country just increased that responsibility, and that responsibility through time became healing one. In the same performance, Maps of Forbidden Remembrance, we asked ourselves, as we did in the first one, how long a vigil does historical violence impose on us? How far can or should my personal responsibility extend for injustice I did not commit? Searching for that answer in theater has already healing power